Eight. Right, 30. What's up? Okay. First of all, greetings to Coin the Boyne and Axel the Rapper and Alice the Gorgeous. All right. There's a triangle for now. Might turn into another triangle, but all right. Let's see. Man, I don't feel talking I don't feel like talking about politics today. I actually don't. I'm just absolutely tired of that. There's no answer for that. There's no. So, hmm, I'm gonna be talking about why is it that men and women, both probably both genders, are just hating each other so much, and I still believe that's the first problem and issue that is creating more issues. Right? Female nature combined with male nature can create good things, right? But I think we have fallen to the belief that we have to understand each other, and this is when it turns into totally garbage, fabricated garbage, from psychologists, therapists, educators, you name it, so-called mentors who want to advise about relationships. That's totally garbage, right? I think that's misleading. Try to understand the opposite sex. Oh my God. You never will. And it shouldn't be a goal. You shouldn't aim as a man, you shouldn't aim to understand woman, right? Not even understand female nature. Mm-mm. Now I know that the most important thing is to know about female nature, know about male nature. Well, it's almost more complicated for the female to understand male nature, but sometimes even male, even men, you know, and I include myself to a certain extent. Understanding female nature, it's almost impossible. But knowing that there's such thing about female nature, I think it puts you to it gives you a uplift to at least the basics and the fundamentals, and you're aware, and you're not gonna be scared, or you're gonna have that hate, But things happen along the way. They do. Things happen along the way, and we come from different backgrounds as a man. Sometimes we just don't have enough knowledge about what female nature is, right? Because our parents, our dad, our father, if we had one, if you guys had one, they just don't know, right? They don't know better. So we have to find out ourselves through trial and error. Sometimes it gets very painful, but hey, not all pain is necessary, but there's some natural pain that comes from experience, and this is what you know transforms you into a very different person, right? It does. It does. Why am I saying this? Why am I saying this? What's up, man? Why am I saying this, right? Because I always been very interested in in the opposite sex, but not necessarily in the sexual way, right? That includes like my mother, cousins, friends, sisters, neighbors, co-workers, etc. Right? So every time when I used to, I was younger and I used to pay attention to older people, right? And they had their own opinion about women, right? And a lot of times, few people had it right, and a lot of times people didn't have it right, right? Because then you grow, you learn about numerology, religion, ethnicities, races, and that influence in how a female is going to be. Period. It does. It does. It does. Environment, it's key, right? Not necessarily religion, not necessarily religion, but environment. And I think laws shape humanity, right? Not religion, right? Not religion to a certain extent. Laws, and I'm talking about government, laws shape people, right? Especially women, right? So somebody asked me, right? He was a youngster, actually, a few days ago. He asked me, Alex, because I told him I had kids, right? And I had 5 kids. And he's like, damn, you know. And I asked him, do you have kids? Like, no, not yet. Like, okay, cool, right? So, short story, he told me that most of the women that he has met, they don't want children. And I'm just like, I mean, it's not nothing like surprising to me. And I was just like, okay, how do you feel about that, right? And he said, well, I want to have children, right? But I want to have my stuff together, my shit together. And I tell him, okay, I mean, that's, using common sense, that's using your brain, right? That you want to have everything, you want to get your shit together. But I was very, skeptical about that word, getting your shit together. I don't even know what it means. Probably because I don't have probably my shit together like I want to have it. But then I've met people, especially when I was incarcerated and getting out, met people who have been through divorces and they have their shit together, apparently, in their own view, and they still struggle with kind of like knowing how the female nature works, right? And it's not like something like a fixed answer. Like I said, it's laws shape woman. Okay, they do. They do. They do. I need more than 10 hands. How many people? White people, Mexican people, any people who brought a wife, a girlfriend from overseas, came here and left them. Few months, years along the way, they just left them, right? And this is my question. Okay. So over there, they got in love because apparently these girls were good girls, right? Virgins or whatever, at least not ran through a lot. But then they come here and boom, something happens, right? They just become something that they didn't they didn't imagine it would happen. Right? It's just so crazy. It's just like I just don't get it. I don't get it, folks. Like I will not never get. I will never say never. But I've never been interested in bringing a somebody from overseas thinking that it's in love with me, right? And at the end of the day, I think they're in love with the documents, becoming an American citizen in the future. And I think that makes the whole difference, right? But people have money. People believe that they like to, live a fake life, fake affection. I don't know how lonely they feel that they need somebody from overseas to come here and then get left. I just don't get it. Probably because I'm not meant to get it, and I don't care. But I was just mentioning it, right, guys? Hey, what's up? Were you in the army? No, I wasn't. No, I'm not in the army. No, no. But not in the army. Blackwater though, private owned military. But but yeah, guys, it's crazy but interesting. I've always said it's interesting to me like how female nature is, and I think that sharing conversation, sharing stories with people have has very helped me to see everybody's opinion and experience. But at the end of the day, a woman is going to shape based on the environment. Period. Okay, that's if there's something that I learned and I can share with you guys, a few, whoever is listening to this video in the future, my kids, I don't know. It's just one thing, right? You literally can bring a virgin from overseas, literally a virgin, all right? Comes to the United States of America. You were the first, only guy who she has met, right? And then boom, right? That's what female nature is. If there's one thing, guys, that you can take out of female nature, is they adapt to the environment. Okay? If there's laws, right, that prohibits women to do certain things, right? Not only by religion beliefs, but by the government, you better believe that woman is not gonna do it, right? It's not. She's cornered. She's gonna be like, oh shit, I can't do that, right? But doesn't mean she don't want to do it. Okay. That's what female nature is. It's not only my opinion. I know that I'm close at least 80% truthful in facts, right? Why? I just met so many people. I'm just passionate, man. Knowing people, I'm just passionate, getting to know people, going on apps, right? Dating apps, and just talking to women, uh, and outside, co-workers, friends, strangers. It's just like conversation. It's just my thing. I just love it. I just love to talk to somebody and have a conversation that it's productive, right? We're gonna learn experience. We're gonna share experiences. And we're just gonna be a different person after we just finish, right? I think just knowledge is just priceless. Experience is just the true currency. I already said it. I said it before. Currency, it's experience hits the true currency. Why is it? If there's one day we have an apocalypse, there's no money, the system shuts down, it's frozen, you can't get Bitcoin, you can't get crypto, you can't get none, right? There's no ATMs, there's nothing. Banks are closed. What in the hell are you gonna do? Well, people are gonna say, well, I have silver, I have gold, I have diamonds. Okay, that's true. But then now you're in danger that you're gonna get robbed. Okay. So what are you gonna exchange a diamond for? Okay. So now there's no food. It's not so now it's crazy, right? I don't think you'll be stupid enough to expose that you have literally assets, right? When something's going on like that. So what is really then the true money that you can be anywhere and everywhere and you can get yourself out of situations, right? It's experience, it's information, knowledge that you have lived it in your own body and your own brain. Okay. And female nature is one of them. Okay, it's one of them. It's just funny how people think that I'm gonna get a woman from overseas, and they really believe it. They do believe it that they're gonna come here, and don't get me wrong, I met two guys, and I believe them. They were virgins, Alex. They were virgins, but they came here and they left me, and I'm like, for a black guy, and they say, I don't know, I think so. Yeah, it is. He was ashamed to say it, but it is right. It just fucked up, you know. I'm not racist, but sometimes, I just have to bring up the true facts. And it's just so crazy, right? Like not all women are gonna leave you from a black guy, but it happens, sometimes. More than a lot of times. More than a few times. So it's just crazy, crazy. So one thing, young guys, to my children, to my young boys, they're listening to this, right? You don't have to hate female nature. You don't have to understand it. Okay, you're gonna go crazy, podcast and books, and you're just gonna drive yourself crazy, and you're just gonna miss the whole point. You're gonna miss the whole point. There's gonna be a time. Then you're gonna hit a plateau, and you're gonna be bitter and angry, and now you just don't want to spend your money or go out there and talk to women because now you have been poisoned. Their women are whores, and it's not that it's false. It's true, like I said. Women are shaped by the environment. What is the environment? The environment is established, it's the outcome of laws of the government. Okay. Any country that you go, right? There's different laws. There's going to be different kind of woman. Okay. People think, oh, female nature is female nature. No, it's not. It's not. Environment, it's the key, more than 80%. Okay. And I do believe in numerology and astrology. Okay. I don't care if she's a loyal sign. I don't care if she's this, but she's in America or Europe. Better believe that she's going to ignore that. Okay. Because women are shaped by laws. Okay. Not religion laws. No, government laws. Okay. If the government is strict and they oppose to certain things that a woman can do, she's not going to do it. That's the whole bottom of the line. Okay. And the reason I'm saying this because I'm getting sick and tired of this podcast. They're just making money and just making people confused and bitter. And these guys, they just want to stay at home and become lames. And then it is crazy. It's not healthy for the planet. Okay. I think that's the major issue. It's not poverty, it's not hunger. All that is just garbage, delusional labels that the government politicians are putting just not to face the real issue. The real issue is that male and females are hating each other so much. That's what's happening. Okay. That's what's happening. Okay. She's making more money than you. You're making more money than her. And it's just a disgusting thing. So at the end of the day, guys, it's an environment thing. Now, if you want to find a decent woman, right, you can find it somewhere, okay? But never be foolish that that thing is going to stay like that, okay? Let's say you find someone at a certain part, I don't know, you pick your country. Remember, laws are always changing, okay? So if your wife, your girlfriend, whatever, your friend, your female friend behaves a certain way, okay? Don't take that for granted. It's just a matter of time when the government will pass laws, okay? A new president, a new minister, a new whatever, okay? A new king. So you will never know, okay? So a woman, it's the outcome of the environment. And what is the environment? It's shaped by laws. The government, made by men, obviously, okay? And sometimes these laws are for the better of the collective. Not all the time. There's an agenda, always a hidden agenda. And as a man, you need to observe and be aware of all that shit. Okay. No, and one of the things here in America is the first thing that you can detect how laws and the environment has affected women is they don't want to have children. They want to instead they want to make money. Okay. They want to make money and not children. Now, if you meet a woman who still wants to have children, okay, and make money, that's a win-win. Okay, that's a win-win. But it's rare. It's rare. It's rare. They all want to make money first and then have kids. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Now they're 40, 50, and they have the delusional courage to put on the profile, I don't want children. What? You can't have children. It's not that you don't want children. You're 58. What do you mean? You know? So it's interesting. It's interesting. You can have fun with female nature, observing how they go about it with things, right? And it's always refreshing to know that. Having all these hearts, what's up? Taking to no one. What? Who's this? Huh? I'm still here. Who is it? Uh-huh. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Yes, Master. Thank you for your brainwashing us. Brainwashing. No, it's not brainwashing. All you have to do is take a second, breathe, forget about my ass, forget about my face. Okay. Just breathe, be honest with yourself. It's something that you already have the answer within you. Okay. If you are a guy who's comfortable with a woman who doesn't want to have kids, all right, and you don't want to have kids, then okay, it's good for you. Okay. I'm not talking to every man. I'm just talking always to the few. That's always my motto. Okay. I'm not here for everybody. I'm just here for the few. I always believe the few in the right places, it's better and they have more influence than masses, right? Everywhere. Okay. Okay. There's power in numbers. Of course there is. Of course there is power in numbers. Right. But there's always more power in the few, right? Who acknowledge their own their own power, right? Their own influence. Okay. But I know people call it brainwashing, but everything is based on observation, right? I don't believe in this. There's a study, man. I don't give a damn if there's a study over there. I have my own brain. I can make my own study. I can make my own study, and few people are gonna relate. Few people I don't. They're not gonna relate, and that's okay. That's okay, right? That's okay. I think it's a big issue here in America that women don't want to have children. And if they decide want to have children after 30, then it becomes a problem. Okay. It becomes a problem not to society, but to her. Mhm. Honestly, to her. See, the reason I know my baby mamas get mad sometimes, but one of them, uh, she gets mad sometimes because she thinks that I'm on dating apps because I just want to be a man whore. I just want, and I'm not. I literally like to. This is how I make my study. This is I literally how I get information. Like going through all these profiles, I'm like, damn, this is crazy. I mean, this is crazy, right? It's just crazy. You know? That's the main issue. I disagree with this philosophy that women should be at home all the time. I don't agree with that. I don't. Women need projects, right? There's something like I will never forget from my grandfather who told me, actually, he already passed away, but he told me this grandson, whenever you find a woman that you want to have kids with, right? Always remember that she has the energy and she's capable of working for you, taking care of the children, and still have energy to be affected with you, okay? To give you love, to give you sex, whatever it is, right? Women are capable of doing a lot through the day, okay? This is why I don't believe when people marry and like, okay, I want a wife and she's not gonna do anything. I believe that's dangerous. I think you're setting her up, you're setting yourself up for failure, right? She's gonna find eventually somebody who gives her projects, gives her things to do, okay? A woman has energy to raise children, not only to have children, raise them, still help you make money, right? Still have projects. See, women have been blessed. I'm gonna use that word, been blessed with so much energy that when I hear men, well, I give everything to my wife, to my woman. I have three, four maids. I have women who clean up the house. I and I'm like, "Where's your wife doing? What's your girlfriend doing? What's your woman doing? Oh, she don't do nothing." That's you can help these kind of men. You cannot help this kind of man, right? And this is why they get divorced. And now their story is like, well, she left me from somebody who doesn't even have a job. Okay, yeah, but this guy probably gives her things to do. Okay, she's always interesting in doing things for men. It's the way it is. Okay. That's one of the things I learned about female nature, regardless of the environment. Environment plays a role. Yeah, American girls don't want to do shit for guys. So that's the red flag. You have to walk away from it. Okay. This is one strategy that you can use whenever you meet a woman. Okay. Instead of saying, what's your favorite color, all that dumb shit, what's your favorite color, what's your favorite food, all that nonsense, you can tell her what's, tell her what was the last project she did. Okay. What's the last thing that you finished a project? Even if she was putting hands on her own car, she's a manager, whatever she is, she needs projects. Okay. Remember, guys, a woman has the capability, the strength, the wisdom to a certain extent to raise children, give you children, make love with you, still have another project, still go to groceries, still come back, go again, come back, go again. She always has energy. Man fails when he thinks that she's doing too much. And I remember my grandfather. Sometimes you might feel some type of way, all right? If your woman is kind of sweating or she's kind of a little complaining a little bit, there's just too much work, that's actually the sign that she's being a woman. Okay. That's one of the signs that when she's like, okay, I have a lot of things to do, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Okay. Mhm. I remember I met this guy and I was surprised. He was from Middle East. I met this guy. He said, Alex, it was 2 years, 3 years ago. So he was the manager. I was working for him. And he says something about lifting something heavy because his elbow, right? He was in his 50s, 40s, late 40s. He said, I can't lift that, my elbows, right? And can you imagine, Alex, and still go home and still make some, do some stuff for my woman, right? For my wife, actually. And I looked at him like, what? Yeah, I still go home and still I go into my wife and ask her, what do you need? What else do you need done? I'm like, oh my God. I mean, that's yeah. No wonder why he will complain every day. He will complain every day that a woman, the more you give, the more they take. Yeah, because you keep doing this. You keep doing this. You can't blame nobody. Now you can't blame environment. Okay. Now environment doesn't play a role. Like you as a man being a dummy now. Okay. You. Okay. Never feel afraid to make your wife, your girlfriend, your woman, your potential partner. Never be afraid of giving her tasks. Okay. She needs to be doing something. Okay. Either for her kids, for your kids, for you, for some nonprofit organization. She needs to, whatever, she can volunteer. Okay. But she needs to be doing something. Okay. And I'm not saying going to the gym. That's a big no no. If your wife, your girlfriend, your partner wants to go to the gym, right? Automatically you need to run away. Okay. It's fake, right? No woman wants to go to the gym if she loves you. No woman. Never get mistaken. Mm-mm. She would do exercise at home. 100%. Mhm. And let her. She wants to go to the gym, let her. But that's it. Game over. Game over. These days, the gym is not what it was. It's not what it was before. It's not. A gym now is a hookup place. It's a kind of like a club where people just walk around puffing their chest, their booties to each other, and it's just a mess, man. It's just that's why I'm glad that I bought my own stuff. It was expensive, but it was a good thing that I just stayed away from that kind of environment. People told me, like, I'm going to the gym. I mean, that's good. I mean, if you cannot afford your own weights, it's a good place to start. But never fool yourself that it's a place where like you're gonna see results. Especially if you're starting from scratch, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't. No, you have to have experience in life because the gym will eat you. It's draining. It's just energy suckers. It's a lot going on. Right, a lot going on. And matter of fact, it's a business, right? It's not something established by the government that anybody can go, just like a park. Like you can take your kids and they can go play. A gym is not that. A gym is owned by somebody, okay, who's making profit out of you. Okay, they shouldn't. You need to understand that your gym is your body. right? You can do your burpees, your stretches, your push-ups, at home. But okay, go back to female nature. Let me go to the comments right here. Hi, family. What's up? To your servant. You need strong one for the plow. Yeah, exactly. See, we have somebody who understands. That's so true. It's so true, man. It's just like, but now they want to paint it like, oh my God, you're so evil. You're just using women, Well, there's a truth about that. Okay. Don't abuse women, but use female nature. There's nothing wrong about that. All right. It's nothing. I can use the restroom. I'm using my car. Using, I don't know since when it has triggered people in their psyche to use, okay, he's just using me. To a certain extent, yeah, just as you're using me. It's just that it's just energy, right? It shouldn't be something bad, right? Abusing, then it is. Remember when you were in kindergarten, when we were in military on middle school, the teacher, I'm going to the restroom. All right, use it, don't abuse it. That's what it is. Something simple. But let me go back to the comment right here. If you are living, you have energy. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. But you guys need to understand that just because you have energy, you need to understand that energy is flowing. So it's going somewhere. Okay. So this is the thing that energy is not stagnated. Mhm. So when you're speaking, it's going somewhere. When you're greeting somebody, it's going somewhere. So then when you go to the gym, an example, right? Just an example. I'm not against gyms. I was in the gym before, but it's just not, I started detecting certain things that it's just like, this is more distracting, all right, than beneficial. Okay. Not for everybody. It was for me, right? I came, from the feds where I'm just like, I'm gonna use this rack. Excuse me, you're taking a selfie, go take a selfie in your car. This is not for that. Let me get my sets, right? And I said, I'm gonna get in trouble. I'm not just gonna get in a fight in here. I need to, step back away from here, But don't get me wrong, there's certain women, smiling somewhere here and there, but I'm like, what am I doing? This is not a club, bro. This is not a bar. This is not a gathering to be smiling at a woman or nothing. I need to get out of here. I'm done. Finish. Buy your own stuff, small but still works, right? So going to what this gentleman said about the energy, of course, but energy is not stagnated. It's not. It's always flowing. So you need to be careful where it's flowing. Okay, and you remember you are next to people. You are in a life planet. So everything's energy. So either it's going this way, it's going on here. So yeah. So you have a lot of suckers too, right? So yeah, going back to let me see more. Um, Even non-living things have energy. That is fake. Wake up. Even non-living what? Even non-living things have energy. Well, I don't know about all that. I mean, it's still energy, but there's certain levels of vibration, if you want to use that word. One of the basic things, if you're alive, you're moving, right? You're breathing, right? Breath, right? You can move. If you're dead, you cannot move. Of course, you're still energy for the ground, right? That's why, just a little mystical, right? Story here. That's why back in the day, in still certain countries, they bury you without, a coffin, without a wood box, because they want you, because the soil, the earth, it literally takes advantage of you, right? In a good way. So all your minerals, your chemicals, your flesh is just, you know, it just crumbles face into the ground, to the soil. And that's how it's supposed to be. And that's representation of a seed, right? People who are agricultures, when you're going, you're putting a seed on the soil. That's just the same as when you die. You're a seed, you're going to the ground. So yeah, it is energy, but you can't just say, oh, it's still energy, it's still moving. It's not. It's not moving, right? Apple, it's energy, right? But you have to pick it up and eat it, right? The apple is not gonna go towards you. It's not. So come on. You know, let's not be a little bit, sarcastic here. But so yeah, say gyms is for weirdos. Yeah, gym is for weirdos. That gym is for weirdos that know nothing about abdominal muscle. There are weirdos. It is just crazy. It's just. Yeah. I'm not saying all the gyms, all right, but I've been to a few ones, but I just don't like them. It's just business and everything that has. I mean, there's nothing wrong with making business when you're good at something, all right. But it's just like I think it's too much, right? It's just too much for me when it's about my body, my own mental health. I don't like to be treated like if I'm a business, right? If I'm a like a patient, I don't like. Right? That's why I disagree with certain doctors and certain physicians and certain people that study medicine, right? I have access to the same books he has, right? He might know more of me, of course. He went to college, he has done open surgeries, open heart surgeries, or whatever, right? But that doesn't mean that I don't have, you know, the privilege and the right to buy the same books that he studied. I can buy them. I have buy them. I have buying them. So knowledge, experience is the true currency, guys. It is. Never trying to understand female nature at its full capacity because it never will, because things are changing, right? Things are changing, right? Things are changing, and female nature is not something fixed, right? It's the result of the environment, all right? Oh, she didn't have a father. Garbage, 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 all right? I met a lot of women, right? In high school, before high school, after high school, a month ago, whatever, right? Most of them, what if I tell you that most of the OnlyFans girls, they have a dad, more than 90%? Hmm? You won't believe it, but it's a true fact, right? So it has nothing to do that I didn't have a father. Zero, zero, hmm? Zero. Oh, we have a father. Now we're gonna have a decent girl. Garbage, right? Garbage. I'm gonna put an example. As this girl, right, that I met, and she said, because I was asking a few questions, and she said, like, man, it just triggers me that my own dad. She said that when she was 18, right, she had a boyfriend, right, and she met another dude. I don't know where, and she got with this dude, right, kind of like a bad boy figure, type of archetype, and boom, she had sex with this dude, right, and she honestly was saying that she was 18 at that time. And she said, like, I felt like shit, Alex. I literally was crying. I'm not, she literally said, on my family, on myself, like, I was devastating. All right. And I'm listening to her. And she said, the first thing I did, like, honestly, within 5 minutes, 10 minutes that I, went home, she called her dad. Listen, she called her father. You know what he said? She said that he started laughing. Girl, you're 18 years old. You're not married. You can do whatever you want. When are you going to do your first tattoo? And I'm thinking, oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that story. And wow, you know, it was mind blowing, not of what she did. That's just normal, right? That's what women do, right? It was what her father, how he responded. That was the confirmation that all this nonsense manosphere about saying that women are whores or hoes because they didn't have a dad. Literally, it's been for the last 6 months. I've been on a trajectory, right? Literally on my notebook, putting everything on my notebook. Every time I have a date, right? Let's all call it a date. go to a bar, meet this girl, coffee, bar, or at home, and then we start talking, right? And it's so crazy when you tap into when she feels comfortable about like talking about certain things, not about sex. Like, so you had a dad, you have brothers. Oh yeah, I had a dad. Blah 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 blah. So all these women that went OnlyFans or this certain things that were kind of like degrading for money, they all had a dad. Most of them. Out of probably 100 women, I'm just put that number. It might be more. 100 women that I met for the last past 5 years, 3 years. Probably out of 100 women, only probably like 11 or 12 didn't have a dad, right? The rest, they had a father. Okay. So all this is nonsense about saying that women are becoming what they're becoming because they don't have a father, right? I might say that they had a father, right? But they didn't have a man as a father. Mm. Very different. Okay. I'm going to say it again. You can be a father, right? But that doesn't say you're a man. Okay. We as men, we are lucky, whatever, blessed with testosterone, seed, sperms, right? It just takes what? A few seconds to get it up and shoot it. Boom, right? Pregnant, okay, that's part of it, okay. But then what kind of knowledge, information you gonna impart, right? Share with your offspring, okay? And even with your wife or your woman or your partner that you had kids with, okay? So going back to this girl who told me that from his dad, and then I think like, I wonder how many fathers respond like that. Mm. This is the one of those times that I don't like to use the word empathy, but this is one of the times that I go and try to. I can't be in women's shoes because I have a dick, but I'm sorry, a male part, but I try to be to share empathy with a woman, right? Okay, you were 18, 19 years old, you had your boyfriend, you were loyal, and out of a sudden, that's how the world works. This bad boy archetype talked to you. He made you feel some type of way. Boom, you had this random sex with this guy. And then you're like, God damn, right? I have a boyfriend. What am I fucking doing? La la la. And the thing that she automatically talks, communicates this with her dad. And this is the response of this so called man or father. It was very shocking, not shocking, but very interesting. I'm like, damn. Like, literally, he said that. Like, literally, he said that. I was crying, Alex. I was crying my fucking brains out, right? Like, what have I done? Like, I don't deserve anything. I want to die. Oh my God, I'm a piece of shit. I'm a whore. Blah, blah, blah. I call my dad, and this punk ass motherfucker, that's what he's, this is the label for this kind of dads, right? Who talk to their daughters like this. Girl, it's okay. You're 18. You're single. He's not your boyfriend. Matter of fact, when are you going to put your first tattoo? I'm like, God damn. Like, okay. Okay. So now I'm creating my own studies on my own that we cannot blame everything to women, right? You can't. You can't. You cannot. You can't. 100%, 1,000%. I'm 100% sure that what I'm saying is 100% correct to what I'm saying, not taken out of context. I guarantee that this person is not the only father who talks to his daughter like this, right? If any father in America, right? Because I'm in America, I'm going to talk about America. Any father, I don't care who you are, my brother, cousin, friend, neighbor, you as a dad, if your daughter creates a mistake that you know it's going to be very, very bad for her. She already did it. There's nothing she can do, right? But as a father to respond and say, keep doing what you're doing and you stop until you get married, this is when I found out that it's man shaping this, right? It's adding to the environment. Okay. We already have fucked up laws, right? Not all of them, some of them, yes. That it overreaches, right? It supersedes the nature of things. And when laws are made that supersede nature, biology, you're setting up not only the community, the city, the state, and the country to failure, right? Period. If you tell me, I have said this before, actually, you know, I don't even know if I wrote Congress one day saying that they should change for 18, they should change it to 17, like to all states, right? But they know this. There's a reason why these politicians created that if you're 17, you're a minor, right? If you're 18, now you can have sex. Those two they dates, numbers 17, 18, there's a lot of happening in there, right? Remember, you're 17, you're still in high school. And most of women, most of them, including myself, we lost our virginity when we were in high school. Okay. And when I'm saying this, I'm going to add a little bit about this. When I was locked up in federal prison, there was a lot of people locked up for sex offenders, right? And I will go through their cases because I was interested, like why a lot of people are picking up these kind of cases, right? It's very fucked up. And a lot of them are guilty though, but not all of them. Don't never mistaken and think the government is not corrupted. Okay, they can fabricate something and just take it out of proportion, out of context, and boom, you're hit. Right? You have that label as sex offender. Right? So I met this guy and I said, bro, what happened? Like literally, I can't feel that energy that you were fucked up like these other guys. And he said, but they got me from my sweetheart from high school. You know, I'm like, God damn, that's so crazy. And everything stems from the day, right? 18 years old, 17 years old. The government knows, okay? The government knows that if they go 17, and I'm not saying to take advantage of one, I'm saying that someone who's 18, right, will have sex with a 17-year-old. They're in high school. There's 1 year apart. So automatically, if you had a girlfriend in high school, now you are 18 and she's 17, and you have sex with her, now you are a sex offender. Okay? It is fucked up. They know this. This day is not created just out of the blue. They know this, that they were gonna catch people doing certain things, right? Now, if you're 20, 25, 30, 50, that's another story. But I'm talking about when you're 18, okay? You get out of high school, right? Your sweetheart, right? Then you become 18 years old and she's still 17. You can't have sex with her. That this is against the law, right? Because she's 17, you're 18, right? That's very fucked up. And I know that everybody's so emotional and sensitive these days because of these fucking Epstein files, right? That's what it is. They're making everybody emotional, right? So now everybody cannot share sexual things because he's a sex offender, he's a chomo, he's a rapist, you know? No, wake up, people. Wake up. Not all the laws from the government are correct or right. Remember, they are still human beings, and you don't know the agenda. Okay? You don't know the agenda of these politicians. Not all the laws are wrong. Okay? I've studied a few of them. I'm not a lawyer, but I've studied a few of them. Not all of them are wrong, right? But it's that one that bothers me so much. The 17, 18-year-old gap. It bothers me because I saw so many guys, right, that got busted, you know, with this kind of label, you know. And the sad part, it was not a random woman, though. It was their sweetheart from their high school. Huh? And it shocked me like, man, this is literally a setup. Okay. I don't know who came with the fucking number 18 years old. All right. I don't know. Right. If you can work at 16, 17, but you can't have sex. Right. I don't understand that. Right. But I'm not promoting, right? Because I already know a lot of people. You're disgusting. It's not for you. Go to another channel and just do your thing, right? But going back to this, it's always bothered me that little gap, 17, 18 years old, because they know there's a lot of that happens when you're 17. A lot, a lot. There's a lot of going on. 17. So if they knew, they study. These people are not stupid or ignorant. They hire the best psychologists, they hire the best psychiatrist, scientist, right? They have their gatherings, the little fucking fancy meetings, and say, okay, why are we choosing 18 years old? Why? Why? Why are we choosing 18 years old? Because they know when you're 17, this is the date, this is the number, the birthday that most people lose their virginity, especially women. Mhm. They know that. Mhm. They know that by fact. So if they make it that 17, it's legal, then for them, is going to become a mess, right? But then you have all these families, all right? It's sad. When I was in the visiting room, a lot of families visiting their son, getting caught with this case, and I'm like, man, this is fucked up, right? So now they say, okay, we're gonna have a mess if we put 17 as the age that you become an adult, that you have literally sexual consent, right? Like federal, like all states. Okay. So let's do 18. All right. Let's do 18 because now if we do 17, it's got to become a problem. But now we have another problem, right? We have a lot of people going to prison with that logo, with that label, sex offender. You know, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people who are really fucked up, but there are a lot of people who are not. You know, and you guys need to wake up with this delusion about all this propaganda about Epstein files and making you disgusting. And now anybody who goes through that, you're like, oh, he did that, he did that. It's just an emotional roller coaster. All these politicians, all these people, they know that people are just emotional. Okay, emotional, and you don't think when you're emotional, you feel. Okay, but you are overwhelmed with feelings. Okay, there's nothing wrong with feelings. They're indicators that something's wrong, something's right. Oh, I like to feel this. That's good. It's part of the senses. It's part of the currency, right? But when it gets overwhelmed, okay, and these people know when you overwhelm with feelings, you shut down your brain. Okay, okay, you shut down one part of your brain. Let me make that clear, right? You shut one part of your brain, right? And for you to acknowledge information, you cannot shut part of your brain. Okay, you cannot. You have to have them on both. I don't care if it's the reptilian brain. Oh, it's the reptilian brain. That's the one of instincts and that's not good and blah 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 blah. No, no, you have to have both sides. How many sides do we have on the fucking brain? They have to be with antenna up, feelings and thought processing, logic, whatever, right? Both. You can't shut one down. Can't. All right? Can't. That's why these people bombard you with feelings because once you're overwhelmed, you can no longer use the other side of your brain, right? And what's the other side of the brain when you're overwhelmed? Hmm? What is it? You're overwhelmed with feelings. That's called panic. Hmm? People don't understand that that's the same receptive symptom that your body is taking where you are overwhelmed with feelings. That's panicking. That's the same feeling when you're panicking. You're feeling too much, or you're overwhelmed, and you're panicking. Now you don't fucking know what to say, what to think, nothing. Okay, and this is how they take advantage, right? Not until you breathe and don't go to that, right, to that place of panicking. You cannot do that. You can't do that, right? Yeah. I got tired of this news about Epstein files. I'm like, man, shut the fuck, shut, right? Just, I got tired of all this crap, you know, tired of this crap, tired. If it's real, not real, what you gonna do about it, right? What you gonna do about it, right? If it's real, not real, who cares, right? Unless you're doing something about it, okay? Look at he's a Trump, fuck all that, fuck all that. I know better now. I don't fall for that trap, right? I don't fall for that trap. I have a daughter, right? I have a daughter. So now I can speak freely. I know she's not 18, but but it's still, right? I have nieces, I talk to my brother. My brother, he's a what you doing, Carlos? What's up, brother? So he shares with me stories, and he asked me like, bro, this here and this, because he has daughters, nothing but daughter, have nothing but boys, but one daughter. And we share things, right? And I tell him, look, bro, it's not that I don't believe in government. The government is necessary, whatever it is. People don't like it, but it is what it is. We need a government. Okay. We need a system because we need to operate, right? Not under something, but with something. That's the difference. We shouldn't be under the government. All right. We should be working with the government. All right. That's when we have it wrong. That's why the Constitution is the most forgotten book in history. Right? It's the most powerful book, the most forgotten, the most twisted, and take it out of context. Right? Period. Right? And that's how it is. It's not that it was written wrong. It is just it was written because they know that we grow. Right? We evolve, not like the Big Bang Theory, but we evolve in our own experiences. Right? So yeah, going back to this female nature, environment plays a role, guys. All right. Let me read some. I'm sorry, guys. You're typing a lot, and let me engage with you guys. Donald Trump, I love you, Brazil. Congratulations, Brazil, for a new area of soil and subsoil Atlanta. Okay, Germany approximately. Okay, I don't know what's going on there, but what's up, Are you supporting Trump? I'm not supporting Trump. See, I love it. I love it. Cause see, people think either you're here or you're there, right? And I get it. We this is a planet of polarity, right? Of contrast. Okay. But let me tell you about contrast. Okay. So you see a lot of colors right here. It's not about black or white. It's a blue, red, gold, yellow, purple. So you don't have to pick a color. You don't have to pick a side, right? You have to see both sides or how many sides there are, just like a diamond, right? A diamond is an analogy, has different faces, right? But it's still the same diamond. You turn the diamond, it has different faces, but still the whole diamond. So this is how life or a situation is. Okay. It's not that I support Trump, okay, but I'm not saying that everything he says it's truthful or falsely. It's I'll be an idiot if I say, oh, he's fucking a holy man, right? I'll be idiot if he's like, oh, he's totally corrupted. I can't say that, right? He might be both, right? That's how we are in a human body, right? We have to embrace the dark side, but we embrace the light. So there's a lot that he has been doing. A lot of people's wrong, right? I don't fucking know because I'm not there, right? I'm not there. And if we're taking everything about the news, then everything's watered down, misinformation. So at the end of the day, if I'm not speaking directly to Donald Trump, I cannot speak for him. Right? If everything I'm just saying comes from the news, then I'm just like everybody else, garbage. It's just garbage and it's just like not reliable information. Right. But at the end of the day, all those pictures about, he was there and blah blah blah. It just doesn't work like that. It doesn't. It doesn't work like that. He can be there, right? That doesn't mean he was part of that. Just like undercover cop. Okay. How do I know this? Because I'm an ex-convict. I know how people got caught. Okay. There was undercover DAs, undercover law enforcement working for 5, 10, 20 years. There were undercover cops. What does that mean? They were snorting cocaine with these people. They were fucking the same bitches, these people. They were doing everything these guys were doing. Okay. But there was a date, right? That the prosecution, the courts, they had an indictment already set up and say, okay, enough of that fun. We need that guy, bring him back. And this is when, boom, got busted. So if he had pictures, let's say an undercover law enforcement, right? They took a picture of him. He has a cocktail in his hand. He has a lady on his lap. Look at it, he's corrupted. Well, it was part of his job, gentlemen. It was part of his job. Okay. You guys need to understand that there's layers to this. Layers, layers. Okay. And a lot of layers are not going to be revealed only by reading or watching the plan news. Mm, It's not. A lot of times you have to literally talk to these people. I was privileged, it's fucked up, but that I was already in that place where a lot of people will share their experiences and I will see their discovery, their paperwork, and I would say, like, man, this guy was with you for 8 years, right? And they got popped. Yeah. He showed up in court. He was an undercover law enforcement, right? And he said he was doing everything that we were doing, almost everything. So this is the thing, guys. This is how America law enforcement operates. So there's always layers to this. So if they caught the president, they have a picture and they have whatever's going on, who knows? There's a lot of technology who can replicate and put your face in there or over there. Okay. And this video is not about technology, but technology, it's a big, big factor on cases, right? I was talking about female nature. Now I don't want to know. You're not from our country. I don't care. I don't care. You know, if we literally start making numbers, you might not be from my country, right? So this is how it is, right? There's a lot of things that they're gonna come to surface not on its own, right? Okay. You kind of gonna have to go to the other side and make some weight and then boom. Okay. Blaming people, just getting emotional like a little kid who wants to go to the fair, it's not gonna give resolution to nothing. Okay. It's not. It's not. Let's see. Glow Trump stirs up hornet's nest. Conflicts in the Middle East may be endless. China and Russia could assist Iran targeting U bases and blah blah blah. Look, bro. Okay, this is, I guess, well, woman, it's politics too. It is. I guess it's an agenda. So all this, like, Donald Trump, whatever, you know, the president, our president, the most important person on earth, like it or not, he's doing whatever he's doing. But we don't know the motives. We don't. Like I said it. There's a saying from the mafia, right? There's a saying, if you were not invited to the table, you don't know what's happening. Sorry, but not sorry. All right. That's how it is. Right. I know you guys gonna say, fuck the mafia. Well, if you go look at it, sometimes the government relies on the mafia, right? To do the dirty work, obviously. But that's that's the whole onion, right? That's the whole onion. Layer by layer by layer makes the onion. Not only one layer, every layer. Okay. That's how it is in life. Okay. That's the beauty of thing. Because you find the loop to argue, have a conversation, to disagree, agree, learn, right? Or get mad, get angry, recognize, whatever. There's always an opportunity to not learn information, but to listen to other people's experiences, right? Okay. I learned this from a Japanese myth. I mean, Japanese myth, Japanese Bushido principle. It goes something like this: one of the best qualities that a man can have, if he wants to succeed, is to listen to everybody's experiences, regardless if he knows he's a fool. I think that was very profound, right? So sometimes, going back to this guy who said everything's energy, of course. So if you want to relate this to energy, like even if you have a fool, even if you want to, me, I'm a fool. Okay, let's do that. Play that card. Let's play that card. Okay, you listen, but because he's energy, right? You can find a homeless guy anywhere. I don't care, right? But he's energy and he's alive. Matt, you better believe that if you have a conversation with him, 1 minute, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, he's going to say at least three things who are true facts, right? Why? Because he has his own body, his own brain. Second, you don't know what he has been through, right? Even if it's bad, he has learned because that's what the brain does, right? That's what the brain and the body does. The more things you go through, the more faster you evolve. The thing is that he hasn't quite channeled it into a good principle to take care of his hygiene, right? He still has that part dead, right? This is when like he needs you or me. So we're like, bro, get your teeth done, get your haircut, get take a shower, right? So now he has valuable information, but because the universe works in sometimes strange ways that he has a valuable information, but it's not reliable because how he looks. But that doesn't mean it's not truthful, right? He stinks. It's just like awful. But what he's saying, at least three things out of 10, it's going to be truthful. Facts. It's facts, right? Not everything from somebody who wears a tuxedo or has a bow or a tie is truthful, right? Doesn't mean it's lies. It's both ways. That's why observation, guys, observation, overwhelmed with feelings. You're overwhelmed with feelings, you're not going to discover anything, nothing. That's how it is, right? It's good to get angry, but you can't be angry all the time. You can't. I learned that by fact. You're gonna have a stroke, right? And then what? I can't move. You know. So you can get angry to have a heated debate, dialogue, but then you have to come to your senses and say, okay, okay, okay. I have a brain. I'm shutting down part of my brain because I'm in panicking, overwhelmed with feelings. Let me go to the other side and turn the lights on, and now I can say what I want to say in a good way that's going to be beneficial for both parties or the world. That's how it works. And if your information doesn't work for your children, so then it's just in vain, right? That's what I thought. That's what I know by experience. If anything, I don't care if it's sexual, politics, whatever. If this information cannot be passed through my offspring, then it's no good, right? No good. I'm not gonna be talking about sports, about who's making more money, because at the end of the day, that's not beneficial to my children. It's not. But if I share with them how to make money or anything else, that's a different story. But I was talking about female nature. We jump into politics like always, because this is what the news are showing us. You know, that we are living in awful times, and AI aliens are coming. Right? Oh, it's all good, right? And because you think you're a mestizo, you think the Republicans like you, and you think Democrats are trying, and they say they love you. Well, first of all, if you are whatever race, right? Mixed race, black, white, Indian, if you're in this country and you literally have that low self esteem to think that somebody loves you more than you, then that's absolutely a strategy, right? To the person, right? Just because you defend an idea doesn't mean you're defending the person, right? I'm gonna say something that a lot of guys, you guys are gonna relate to this. So quick, 30-second story. So when I was in the federal system, right? You know, there was riots and shit like that. You always know that blacks against whites, Mexicans against blacks. You know, everybody's against blacks for some reason, right? It's not something new. They know that. We know that. Okay, so there was somebody who said that. Why are you acting black? Everybody knew, like, okay, he's acting black. Okay, and then somebody said, "You're acting white," and everybody had a different face. Like, what is acting white? Exactly, exactly, exactly. So just because a black person says something wrong, it doesn't mean that he's not going to say something right eventually, right? When a white person says something right, that doesn't mean he's not going to say something wrong eventually. So it's just a pattern, right? And we cannot fool ourselves that there's certain people who have more skill and capabilities to do certain things, okay? That's the fact, and this is what people try to reverse psychology and say, okay, you as a mestizo, as a mixed guy, as a black, as a Mexican, black person, Indian, whatever, Middle East, Persian, anything. You come to this country, right? Unless you're born in this country, even if you're born, right? Then say, okay, you're protecting these laws and you think they love you. Well, it's not about if they love you or not. It's not about love. It's not about love. All right. If a man, okay, has established a law or has established a conversation, a principle, okay, that is beneficial to the whole world, that doesn't mean you're praising or you're worshiping this race. It's not. It's not. Right. But to fool yourself that every race is capable to do what other races do, for the most part, it's stupid. It's just like the animal kingdom. Okay, you want to be a lion or you want to be a tiger? But that's just by asking that question is already stupid by asking it. If somebody is already comparing a lion to a tiger to a bear, an eagle to a giraffe, automatically that person has uh, issues with himself that he needs to resolve. Okay, a healthy, intelligent person is not going to be comparing animals because at the end of the day, every animal shares and has its own gift and skill, right, and its own place in the ecosystem. Period. Okay, what is better, a whale or a dog? It's, you see, I'm saying, like, when people start acting and comparing this kind of stuff, this is when you detect. That's the word, you detect that you cannot no longer have a conversation with this person because he's absolutely in a realm where it's nothing but ignorance, and you don't want to be contagious about it. All right, you don't want to get. You want to isolate yourself. Right? Let him to be in quarantine. It's called ignorance. Okay? Let him be in quarantine. Right? So that's the thing. Okay. Now, is there certain people that have more knowledge than other people? A different kind of knowledge? Obviously. Obviously. Of course. You know? Obviously. Otherwise, nobody would want to come to this country. Right? Right? People are saying, okay, you think these people love you if you don't have blue eyes. Well, it's not about loving. I don't want his love, right? I just want his opportunity. I just want the opportunity to succeed. And who gives a fuck about his love, right? Who doesn't, right? There's a reason why a lot of people from other countries come to this country. Not because they worship white people or they worship the founders. It's because this country offers different opportunities that other countries don't, right? That doesn't mean you're worshiping these people. Now, if you're into that kind of stuff, now it'll be a different story, right? A different story. I study religion, but I'm not a religion person, right? I'm not. Russia, yeah. Mhm. I don't. Well, I don't, you know, I don't. I in my next reincarnation, if I'm willing to choose, I would choose myself again. I just love it, you know. I just love it, you know. So that's all I can answer, you know. And knowledge, it's neutral, right? It can be grasped by anybody, but not anybody can grasp it. Get it? Yeah. It's just not so easy to grasp the knowledge. You have to have a good self-esteem, right? I've met a lot of people, and this is a good example. I met a lot of people who don't who do a job a certain way. Then there's type of people who created different equipment, technology, and they go to this country, this city, and say, look what, we have different tools. We have different technology that's gonna help you with your fields, with your agriculture, with your trees, with your career, whatever. And these people, they're stuck in their traditions that they don't want. No, I don't want to do it that way, right? Because this is how we do it. They're partially half true, right? Because they have their own beliefs, whatever they're holding to what beliefs. But when you see that your own system and religion and people and country are not succeeding, then it's ignorant in your behalf to keep supporting this kind of people, right? It's just like all these people. And I'm going to mention the Jews. You can't get the Jews out of it. You cannot let the Jews out of this conversation. You know, people hate Jews. They just hate it. Hmm? They just hate it. They run the world. They own 80% of the resources in the world and everything, blah, blah, blah. And all that stems from a victim mentality, right? You know, they have contaminated our world. They contaminated our woman with OnlyFans. They control our banks, right? That's a victim mentality. Mm. It's a victim mentality. If you don't have opposition, you cannot grow. Okay. If you point your finger at certain people that that's their fault because you're like this, automatically there's no hope for you. You shut down like a car with no gas. Boom, on the spot. There's no hope for you. Okay. Mm. I know by fact, Jewish people are the most influential people on earth by fact. But guess what? A lot of them are still doing time in the federal system. People don't know that. People think that they're exempt from going to prison. Mm. There's a lot of Jewish people doing time. And a little secret might not be a secret. Thanks for these Jewish people, who a lot of them are lawyers, right? In the federal system, a lot of people are getting out, okay? Not violent people. Mm. And a few with violent, you know, uh, past crimes. Mm. Thanks, not to all of them. I'm not saying they're all doing this, but a lot of them, I witnessed, they were Jewish people, there were lawyers, and they were putting motions helping people how to get out of the federal system and how to fight the courts. Okay. So you cannot blame certain people for what you're going through, right? You can't. That's a victim mentality. You're always going to be stuck there like a tree with no fruit. 100%. 100%, my dudes. 100%. Right? 100%. That's how it is. And it's going to get better. All right? Yes, the Jews, they're not my friends. They're not my enemies. They're not. I don't see them like that. I see them like people who have who have taken their brain seriously. All right? Well, they're doing a lot of illegal things on there. And it's a victim mentality. Hmm? Find them guilty, though. If you know they hold crimes on their shoulders, on their back, hold them accountable, though. Hmm? Hmm? If they're getting away with it because there's certain codes, Just like people get mad at rich people, they're tax exempt with IRS. You get mad at them because other people, including me, we pay taxes and they don't. Instead of getting mad, why don't you find out how they do it? Hmm? But for that, you cannot be overwhelmed with emotional, all right? Waves. Then now you're in panic. Hmm? People think that you to be in panic, you have to be crying. That's a lie. No, it was an interesting book. I forgot the name. I read so much that I forgot the name. That panic, you can literally be overwhelmed with laughter. You can be laughing, right? That's a state of panicking too, right? You're just laughing and you're just not paying attention. That it's just a window that opens, right? It's all in your psychic. It's something that you're not thinking. You're just like absorbing everything, right? And when you're overwhelmed with feelings, it's almost impossible to really get to the bottom of things because you overwhelm with feelings. What is feelings? Energy. What is energy? Waves, right? They're hitting you. Boom, 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 boom. You can't think. You can't think, right? Can't think. I don't care how horrible the crime is, how horrible the situation. Overwhelming with emotions is not going to get you out of there. It's not. It's not. You have to touch a neutral ground. You have to touch a neutral ground. And this is where things start to clear up, right? Neutral ground. You know? What's up? No, it's not. It's not. Not. Mm-mm. It's not so. I still disagree with a lot of them. What they do, a lot of things. A lot of things. A lot of things. Like I said, I started religion. I don't follow religion, but I follow intelligence. Right? It's been more than 10 years that I got out of my system. Right? I can criticize Jewish people. I can criticize white people. I can criticize black people. I can criticize Middle East people, Chinese people, but it will be for another day because I just have so much things to say in a good way, right? Just because I'm saying something good about someone, that doesn't mean I don't have something bad about to say, right? That's the confirmation of polarity. Okay, guys, if I'm saying something good about a person, I'm also have the opportunity and the window to say something bad about it. Okay, you guys need to educate yourself. Okay, just because someone, including myself, say something, recognizes something good about someone, that doesn't mean I don't have the potential to say, you know what, you're a piece of shit for doing that. What? But you told me I was good at this. Yeah, for this action, it was phenomenal, excellent. But this is wrong. That's the beauty about life. This is why people get emotional because they think someone needs to have it right all the time. Okay? It's when you have a mentor. You have a mentor and you're in sports, whatever. Okay? You have a mentor and he's with you. He made you succeed. You have money, millions, billions, whatever. And then your mentor goes on cocaine. He's on the streets drinking, you know, living a horrible life. And then you're like, what the fuck? You forgot that he's still a human being and he did his part. Forget about him. Okay? You guys need to understand that persons, people are half evil and half good. Stop seeing people as completely evil and stop seeing people as completely good. That's garbage. That's a religion, pragma, and erroneous principle that pastors, leaders are telling people we're just evil beings. And we have to come up with JC so he can take our souls and become wonderful creatures in another world, naked and afraid. No, it's not. We are light and darkness, right? Period. And we need it. Otherwise, we wouldn't succeed. You will be just light, light, light. You know, go to sleep with the lights on. See how it feels. Huh? I know by fact. I be in the shoe, right? Turn the whole lights off. telling me about the light is the whole thing. It's not. Mm. It's not being in the darkness all the way too. It's not. Go drive a car with no lights in the middle of the night. Mm. Takes 20 minutes. We're gonna crash into something. So don't tell me, guys, that there's not good and bad in people. Okay, you need to understand. I don't care the race. I don't care who he is. Okay, I don't care. You can think great about this person, but the minute he fucks up, you just have to say like, okay, I'm done with this guy. But that doesn't mean he never said something good. That doesn't mean he never, right, gave something meaningful and beneficial to the world. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't. Right? It is not. If you keep thinking like that, you're gonna shut yourself and you're never going to have real truth in your life because you're looking for the perfect whole evil person or the whole good person. It's not. It's a lie. It's a lie from the bishops, from the Pope, from all this religion, including Jewish people, Orthodox. I don't care. They're all, it's a lie that you have to become good. No, you have to embrace your dark side and your good side. Period. Right? Period. That's how it is. That's true education. It's not something new. It's out there. You just have to accept it, right? Human Oracle. What's up? What's up, guys? Thank you for support. It's been good. It's been good talking about all this. You know, like I said, I'm just I like to talk about something and I end up talking about something else. Why? Because it's all connected. It's all connected. It's all connected, right? I can be talking about my arm, right? And then I'm gonna switch to talk to my face. I'm gonna talk about my brain, about my hair. Like where you everywhere is part of me, right? If I'm talking about my fingers, then I'm talking about my hand. If I'm talking about my hand, I'm talking about my leg, right? If I'm talking about my organs, now I'm talking about my skin. But you see, it's all connected. It's all part of you. You choose where to focus your attention. That doesn't mean you're scattering, right? It's everything's connected, right? But it's not until you stop being so emotional. Emotions are not wrong, but you when you get overwhelmed, it is because there's no clarity. You shut down one of your part of your brain. It's just science, true fact, fact, fact. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, guys, I think I'm gonna wrap it up with this one. And thank you, appreciate guys with for your support, disagreements. Right, that's what it is. And if aliens come, you better have good questions. All right, because they're coming here with questions. Right. So train yourself to have good questions. And when you have good questions, you already have 50% of the answer, right? It's just a matter of attention. All right, guys. Good night.